I presented this at a conference. And why did I give this presentation? First, I've been a developer for 7 years. Most of my career, I focused on development practices, how to do things right. But eventually, when I joined Manulife 17 years ago, I had a hard time figuring out how to have a broader impact, I thought I had good ideas, but I saw other people with the same ideas getting promoted and moving up and getting the nice projects. I started trying to find out how to do that. Being an introvert, very technically oriented, I cocooned socially because I had a family that is very social, so most of my social interactions came from somewhere else as growing up. So this talk comes exactly from that. And when I talk to some people about my journey, they say, you know, probably that's something that other people may want to hear and listen. So that's how I came to this. So after 17 years at Manulife, probably the first 10 years, I was a lead developer, having a lot of fun, but figuring out how to move up. These days, I don't coach directly, but I work with a lot of developers. I do, and I try to coach and mentor as much as I can. So I will skip this one because this is for the conference. You're a captive audience. So this presentation is if you want to have broader impact in your organization. If you wonder why other people are getting promoted ahead of you and you say, well, but I'm doing things better. Why am I not being recognized? If you want to get the cute projects, the nice projects, the interesting tasks, whatever you think is success for you, how to be better at achieving it. Or if you already figured it out, and then when you hear things that I'm saying and you say, oh, Raul, I think that you are missing this. Maybe it's going to help you or help other people. That would also be welcome after the presentation. The first thing is that great developers do more than just coding. Great developers, of course, start with passion. We like what we do. We are curious about learning new things. We're curious about talking to other people. We communicate that passion, and that's something that you can't be learned. You either have it or not. But that is one of the characteristics of the best developers that I know, that I have worked with. And of course, you have to have that technical expertise, knowing how to do things, knowing the ins and outs of the development language that you're doing, of the platform that you are working on, that on how to do things in a clean way that just works. That's where the development practices focus mostly, and we have developer practice managers that will be able to support you there. But the thing that I saw was missing from me, and I've seen missing from many people when I do interviews and when I work with other people or when I'm coaching, is the soft skills. Those are the human skills that help you relate to people, that help you transfer the information, that help you navigate the complexities of a large organization. And that is the focus of this conversation. The first thing that I noticed and that I got comments from other people and when I'm reading blogs or following people is communication skills. Great developers or great professionals are great communicators. But starting from the most important communication skill, which is listening to what the audience wants. Most of the time, in the beginning of my career, I would have a presentation. I would have something awesome to say. I would go to a meeting. I would start my presentation, and people would say, but what about this? And I would interrupt. Wait a second, that comes later. I will talk about it. And I would talk about things that they didn't care about and just spend very little time on what they really cared about because that's what I had practiced. That's what I was prepared for. So being able to listen to what people want to know, what is their context, their needs, their motivation is important. Also using the right means of communication, using an email when a phone call is better, using the phone call when it's better, using an email when you need to keep track. But sometimes I see people that do so much documentation on emails. It's like, no, why don't you put it in a document? Ensure that you have that follow-up. And of course, sometimes you want to give a presentation to people to communicate what you want. So whether it's one-on-one, meetings, phone, always choose the right channel of communication. And once that you communicate to people and that you get feedback from those people, always close the circle and close the process and ensure that what you wanted to communicate was communicated. Get that feedback. If you want something to happen, ask for it directly. Say, is the proposal clear? Do I get your approval? Is the design clear? Is there a follow-up? Always ensure to have that closing of the circle, ensuring that the communication went appropriately. And once that you have that knowledge, you know that you have that technical expertise and that passion, communicate it as many people as possible. So promote and share that knowledge. That tends to increase your profile, because it's not just that you know, but people know that you know about certain topics, or people trust you because they've heard you talk about it. So now you know how to communicate, but who do you communicate to? One of the main friction points for me was networking. I really didn't understand what networking really was. I heard that, okay, networking is who you know. And I would go to events or meetings, and I would introduce myself and ensure that people knew that I was there. Later I learned that, no, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And then I would create my card and I would talk about me. And again, it wasn't working. Eventually, I realized that yeah, of course you have to know people. Of course they have to know you. But more than that, it's about making meaningful communication. And I've added that something else is meaningful communications without a purpose. If you are very purpose specific, people can read you, and that makes people unconsciously uncomfortable. Oh, this guy wants something. But when you start getting to make those meaningful connections without a purpose, eventually magic happens. So networking is all about expanding your sphere of influence. The people that you know, the people understanding who people are, and reaching out of your comfort zone. So when you're making those connections, how do you make them meaningful? Well, something that I took a long time realizing is getting interested about the people itself, not what is in it for you, but getting interested on the people, who they are, what they like, what they do, and eventually you will start realizing that you know person A, you know person B. Oh, now you can make a connection there. This is networking. When you say, oh, by the way, you're talking about this application and this platform. I know someone that has been working on that. Let me put you in contact with them. That will make it easier for you to do what you're doing. You only know that because you created connections before. People will remember that interaction and will reach out to you next time. And as you create those connections, they will help you connect to other people on the second degree, and now you have an additional connection. And one of the nice things about networks is that they grow exponentially. Thinking of it from a very technical perspective, networking is really more than being a node on the network. being a hub on the network. When communications go through you, then you get to know people better. They get to know you. You get a profile. You get to get things done. And that is the most important thing. Look at the managers around you or the senior people. It's people that get things done. They don't always do things hands-on, but their hard work is reaching out to people, ensuring that the people that need to know something, they know something, that eventually the goal is achieved. How do you do that? Well, of course, you attend events, conferences, social events at the company, and leverage your wing persons. The same thing that happens at bars, that you go with friends and they introduce you to other people, or they are your support when you are getting to know people. The same thing happens at events. So someone knows someone, they can help you get the introduction, or just if you are unsure about that's a very senior person, would I go talk to them? Well, go with someone else. The things are easier. People are like everybody else, regardless of what they know or what they do. So try to disregard hierarchies when you're creating those meaningful connections. When I say disregard hierarchies, don't think of people as the senior people at the table, but really as people. And you do that because, you're going there without a purpose. You're not reaching to them because they are senior people. You're reaching to them because you want to create that connection. And on the practical side, I like to create contextual charts, knowing who is who's related to who, and who do I need to know. That is very important. And again, talking to people, you start getting those mental things. In my case, I tend to do it graphically, and that helps because it helps me when I'm trying to figure out who's who, remind myself later who's who, but also because I can communicate that to others that may need the same information. And of course, you always pay forward the networking and having a wing person by paying forward and connecting other people, helping create those connections. But once that you are working with multiple people in a large organization, there will always be politics. And I know that when I was in Vegas, I tried to avoid referring to the current state of politics there. But in general, politics is seen as a dirty word, like, I don't know, doing dirty tricks or trying to get things for yourself and trying to use people. I don't know why that has come to define what politics is, but in reality, a good definition for politics is the process of making uniform decisions that apply to all members of the group, that there is some level of consent, of agreement, even if it's not total. That is what politics do, and that's when we look at public figures, probably that's what they should be doing. And the successful ones are actually doing that. They negotiate with the union and at the same time with the businesses and try to get to an agreement. So a good political person is the one that creates those bridges. And that's where your network, where your communication skills, where your listening skills start paying off. You understand the different perspectives that people have. What are their motivations? You realize that most people don't come to work trying to see how they are going to aggravate other people. When you see that someone is pulling in a different direction or has resistance to something or creates tension, there is usually a very rational reason of why they do that. So start by assuming that resistance comes from good intentions. Take the time to listen to people, and you will see that I think that 90% of the cases, of course there's difficult people always, but 90% of the cases, people disagree because they have different assumptions, because they have different goals, or because really they are talking about two completely different issues. Recently, I had to bridge communication among some development consultants and lead developers where they absolutely disagreed on the solution. And when I was talking to them, I realized that they disagree because they were talking about two different things, using the same words. So just by trying to take the time with patience, trying to understand where each one is coming from, you understand where the agreement points are, and you identify what the disagreement points, and they are usually smaller than the agreement, so you can get past all those issues. So as a political person in the organization, ensure that you serve as a bridge of communication between the different stakeholders. It requires practice. As I said, I've been practicing this for 7 years now, consciously, probably all my life unconsciously, and that's why I wasn't doing a good job. But consciously start trying to create those bridges. And politics are politics. Document agreement. A lot of people, not in bad faith, but in good faith, forget things. They talk to you when they agree with something with you, but then they speak to the VP, and the VP has a different perspective, and then they change their mind, and they do a completely 360 or a complete 180. And you talk to them, and hey, we agreed on this. It's like, no, I've always thought that, because now they really believe on the new decision. Say, no, we talked about that. This is what you decided. Are you sure that you want to change your mind? And sometimes they say yes, and they explain to you why they're changing their mind, and now you have a new context, and that is okay. And sometimes they say, oh, I forgot about that. Yes, let me talk to that other person and help them change their mind. So that only happens, or it happens more easily if you document those agreements. And I talked about things where you can grow, but working on your own, and sometimes we tend to, technical people, we like learning things on our own, reading books, and we are very intelligent, so we think that we know everything sometimes. And reaching out to mentors, people that have been there, that have achieved the level of success, or that are where you want to be, is invaluable. I think that most of what I've learned, or most of the important things that I've learned, or that I've learned well, I learned from someone else. When you're looking for mentors, and I'm differentiating a mentor from coach. For me, a coach is someone that is on the day-to-day, how are you going to do the work that you're doing? A mentor is more someone that helps you grow as a person. In this particular case, how can you grow in your career? But again, mentors can be for many other aspects on the personal life. When you're looking for mentors, I mentioned people that are already there where you want to be, but that they are not on the direct line of reporting, so you can be absolutely candid about the problems that you're facing, about the concerns that you have, and the more candid you are, the better. And knowing that not everybody is good at everything, it's okay to reach out to multiple mentors. Some are going to be peer mentors, people that are doing certain things right, that are your peers, and you see that they're getting a certain level of success. People that are good at the politics, some other are good at the networking, some others are good at different things. Reach out to mentors, more than one. For example, I have mentors that are female mentors that are males, older, younger. I have mentors that are way younger than me because they are very good at doing certain things that they learn from from the crib probably because that's how their family are, and I have no problem with that. Actually, I value that a lot. And at the same time, when you when you grow up in your career, mentor others. Ensure that you reach out to offer your help to other people. Really, everybody has something to offer to other people, and you will see that not only the other people benefit, but you benefit yourself when you're mentoring. And you will see that mentors, that's why they are always willing to help, or they tend to be willing to help because they get as much value helping as the person that they are helping. So eventually, if you want to reach your goals, reach for a mentor. And now you have mentors, you network, you have good communication skills, you know politics, and people are starting to notice you. But still, things are not there. So what to do there? And again, I'm going through a road that I myself took. First, always be honest. You know something, say it. You know something, say, I don't know it. I will try to figure that out. I'm not prepared to do this, to take this role. Maybe I need a little bit more maturity for that role. Say it. Be honest. Don't try to assume that by saying that you know more than you do or that you are more capable than you feel you are going to get recognition. So don't be afraid of exposing your vulnerabilities. It's better for people to know what your vulnerabilities are and be able to work with you on those than not. But at the same time, show confidence. When you're honest and share your vulnerabilities, people actually see that you're confident with yourself, and that is extremely valuable, confident people. And you show confidence by taking ownership of things that are assigned to you or things that you know that are needed, even if they weren't directly assigned to you. Embrace change. Contribute back to your team. When you're contributing back, as I mentioned, giving talks or providing templates or for things that have worked with you, sharing things that have worked for you. If you, one particular case, I work with a IBM consultant in a project, and they had a very nice document and template for capturing non-functional requirements. I don't know how it's in retail, but institutional non-functional requirements tended to be an afterthought. With this template, it was very easy, or it was easier to frame the capture, the follow-up, and the discussion of non-functional requirements. I modified it, cleaned it up a little bit, and started offering it to other people. Hey, you're capturing non-functional. This worked for me. They may use it, they may not use it, but just by doing that, I showed that I care about everybody's success. And finally, people already know that you are great. You communicate, you network, they know you, but they may not know that you want to move up in your career. They may not know that you want the sexy project. They may not know that you want to move to a different area to develop a new skill. Manulife, that's one of the things why I have been 17 years here, is very good at listening at what you want. There's always limits and certain conditions that you may need to work out with your manager, but you own your career. Nobody else owns your career but you. Ask exactly what you want. I want to be promoted. I would like to be a development consultant. I would like to be an architect. I would like to be a manager. How do I get to be a AVP or VP? I would like to be there. People will help you identify what the gap is. People will avoid being pigeonholed. This is a problem that happens to a lot of people that don't know why they're not moving up. They are very good at something, and they are so good at that that they never move from there. I remember mentoring one person that said, "Raul, I would like to be a development consultant. I'm the best at this, and he listed everything that was the perfect role for a development lead. And I said, well, you know why you're not being promoted? Because you are doing your job perfectly. So you will continue doing it. If you want to be a development consultant, get out of your comfort zone and start doing the things that you don't like doing, like reaching out to other departments, ensuring what other people are doing. That is the gap that you currently have. So that person was being pigeonholed to be the SME on what he was doing. And yes, he was the best at that. But there was not much room to move there. Be proactive, asking for assignments. I tend to do something different about every couple of years because I say, by the way, this is interesting, but the next project I want to grow on this, let's try to find something where I can develop that. And it happens, really. And as I mentioned, do your gap analysis, set a plan and a target, and talk to your manager about that plan and that target. So people tell me, but I talked about this with my manager and nothing happens. I'm like, well, did you document it? I'm going to put in a bind here the managers that are on the call. But it happens that if people understand what the gap is and they tell you, you know, if you want to be at the next level, you would need to do this and this and this. And then you say, well, I need some projects to develop those, or I will start working on those. And if you meet with them in 6 months and you say, this I demonstrated here, this I demonstrated here, this I demonstrated here, they will have a very hard time coming up with reasons why you shouldn't. But now, really, you should already be there, and that should be obvious. So do your gap analysis and set a plan and a target. And we are not invincible. We're not invulnerable. We are not just machines. I realized that as I was moving up, there were certain things that were beyond my control, and I had to reach out for help. I already mentioned mentors, requesting direct feedback from your line of reporting, from your managers. Reach out for soft skills training, emotional intelligence, being an introvert that is mildly on the ADHD and Asperger's. It was the emotional intelligence is something that I had to learn. I wasn't born with emotional intelligence, so I had to do rational emotional intelligence, if that makes sense. Doing facet 5, Myers-Briggs with your, or previously Myers-Briggs with your peers, understanding the different way people think it helps you a lot. I've had to read books. For example, knowing that I was an introvert, I read Quiet, the book Quiet from, what's her name? I can't remember, Laura. It lets me understand why I behaved in a certain way, embrace it, and do it better. And personal help. I started going for counseling, and not because I thought that I had a big concern, but because I knew that I was a procrastinator. Where does that come from? Why am I a procrastinator? What can I do to not be it? Some people are going through stressful times in their life. When I was going through divorce, super stressful, that was affecting my performance, my headspace. Counseling helped. Resolving anxiety issues, all those things may be holding you back. So truly, focus on your health. Focus on yourself through communication, training, reading, and reaching out to the experts that can help support you on your journey. Some people like spirituality, so reaching out to spiritual coach can help, or some people trust more their counselor or therapy or life coaches or whatever, whoever it is that you think can help you be in peace with you. That that sounds maybe cheesy to some people. I was someone that didn't, quote unquote, believe in counseling or therapy because I thought I'm intelligent enough. I can deal with this by myself. And all the reading and all the training wasn't getting me there. Counseling did. So as a closing remark, we focus a lot on development practices. They help you create good software. Developer practices or soft skills help you build a successful career. So I hope that this helped you. If you want to talk to me about something else or if you have questions,